Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, I welcome you all to the intro to Python tutorial today. Now this tutorial will be right from the very basics. So variables, loops, functions, those sorts of things. Okay, we're going to begin with a recitation from Dawood.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا عبادي الذين آمنوا اتقوا ربكم للذين أحسنوا في هذه الدنيا حسنة وأرض الله واسعة إنما يوفى الصابرون أجرهم بغير حساب. Say, O my servants who believe, be mindful of your Lord. Those who do good in this world will have a good reward, and Allah's earth is spacious. Only those who endure patiently will be given their reward without limit. Patience is very important, especially when you're learning Python.
Okay, so what is programming? Anyone have any idea? Go on. Making snakes do stuff? Maybe, sometimes. Okay, so a very formal definition, this is from Code Academy, says programming is giving a set of instructions to a computer to execute. Now, a simpler definition I came up with myself is telling a computer to do things that you don't want to do yourself. So, does anybody know what number machines are? Okay. Does anybody recognize this, or where this comes from? Yes? It's a function machine. Where does it come from though? Not this one specifically yet, but you will find these in, say, Year 6 SATs papers or in primary school maths. But this one came from a foundation maths paper though. And sometimes you'll have number machines where, for example, it doesn't tell you what's actually happening, but you have to figure out what it does. So anyone have any guesses what this number machine is doing? It could be timesing by 2. What else could it be doing? Yeah, it could be adding them to. So it could be timesing, it could be adding. It's a bit ambiguous because we don't have enough information. So everybody here is familiar with number machines, right? To some extent. So number machines are essentially functions. Okay, what are functions? Again, another formal definition. Functions in programming is a block of code that encapsulates a specific task or a related group of tasks. Functions are defined by name, may have parameters, and may return a value. You don't need to know what all of this means. What you do need to know about functions, they do something that you need. So, for example, in the previous case, it could be adding a certain number, like adding 2, it could be timing by 2, it could be doing some kind of maths equation. And if you do need to make a function, you're able to do that. And then you could use it later on if you need it again. Sometimes functions will give you numbers, for example, in our previous examples. Sometimes they won't give you anything. Sometimes they might give you a piece of text. Okay? Functions can give you basically anything, or nothing if you don't need it. So, how do you recognize a function? In programming languages, they're always followed by brackets. I'm guessing most of you did GCSE maths or A-level maths. So, for example, say the sine function, you write sine and then you have the brackets next to that, right? And you have your number going into the bracket. It's the exact same in programming languages. Now, functions, they don't just take in numbers, okay? They can take in pieces of text. So, for example, in programming languages, we have different types, and the type for a piece of text is called a string, okay? The type for a number is called an integer, okay, a whole number. You could have other different types as well. This is an example of a function. So just like how sine, cos, tan, other functions you've seen before, you have functions that take in text, like print, for example. So print, it takes in a piece of text and it outputs that to you, so you'll be able to see it. So for example here, print line 1, print line 2, prints out line 1, prints out line 2. You can have functions that take in more than one thing. So here we have two separate pieces of text. We have hello, and we have there, and we have a comma separating them. So that's how we know that these are two separate things. Here we have a function, the function print taking in three different things. Okay, each one being separated by commas again. Now we're going to do a demo of a basic function, or a basic program. First of all, we're going to do a simple program that prints out a message to us. So, for example, print hello. Now, I'm able to run this program. As you can see over here, it printed out hello. In the other example, we had it take in more things. So here, I'm giving it hello, and I'm giving it there. So if I run that this time, it works similarly. It's still printing out the message that's inside of it. Okay. Now, print is one of the functions that we have inside of Python. Now, we have a lot more functions, including input. This is a special function that allows the user to type in what they want to input. So, for example, if I run this now, it gives me the ability to type something here. So I can type in hello. Okay. Right now, it's not doing anything with that, but I can make it. I'm going to make it so that it asks me my name, and I'm going to save that name inside of the computer. So first of all, to make it ask me my name, I can use print. What is your name? Now if I run it this time, and ask me my name, I can type in my name here. Okay, and the program's finished. Okay, now what if I want it to do something with my name? So for example, say, hello Yassine. Now I need to take in the name, and then I need to do something with it. So I need to store it. Now in programming, we have these things called variables. Variables allow us to save pieces of data. Now variables can be named whatever you want, pretty much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say name is equal to input. Input was a function, okay? It can take in something, but it's not taking in anything right now. And at the end, it's going to give me something, okay? Just like how the number functions from before, they return numbers. This one's going to return a piece of text. Okay, so if I run this again, I type in Yassine. Okay, it's still not doing anything with it, but it's saved it into this variable now. Okay, so now I'm able to reuse this variable afterwards. Okay, the way that I could do that, I do another print message. So I'm going to say hello. So that's the first thing inside of my message. And now a comma to separate it out. And I'm going to say what my separate variable is, name. If I run that, what's my name? Type in Yassine. It tells me, hello Yassine. I want to make a function now. This time, it's going to take in my first name, and then my surname, and then I want it to combine them together. So I can say, hello Yassine Khan. Now I want it to also take in my surname. So I'm going to do a new message, print. Hello. What is your surname? Okay, what am I going to need to do to get the surname now? Yeah, I'm going to need to create a new variable. So if I want to store something, I need to have somewhere to store it in. So I need a variable for it. Okay, so what would be a good name for this variable? Surname, yeah. I'll call it surname. Okay, and now how am I going to get? Which function do I need to use here?
Is it input?
Yep, I'm going to need to use input here. Okay, so now if I run this, okay, it asks me for my first name, Yassine, asks me for my surname, Khan, and it says, hello Yassine. Why is it not saying hello Yassine Khan? Any ideas? Yeah, so my print statement right now, it's only using my name variable. My name variable is from over here. That's when I gave it Yassine. But I haven't used my surname variable. Okay, so what am I going to need to do so that I also use my surname variable? You gone? Yeah, so if I put surname as a separate thing into my function, into the print function. Now it's going to print this out as well. Okay, so I'll try to run that again. That's my first name, Yasin. That's my surname, Khan. It tells me, hello, Yasin Khan. Yeah? Okay. Now, I want to try and make a program that's going to add two numbers, okay? So I'm going to ask it to take my first number, then take my second number, and then it's going to output the sum of both of those two numbers. Okay. Okay, so first of all, how am I going to get my first number? What do I need to do? Yep, go.
You can do like x is equal to 1.
What if I want to get the number from the user?
Oh, okay. Then x is equal to input.
Okay, yep, so because I need to store my number somewhere, I need to give it a name. So, for example, I give it x, I give it num1, I give it whatever. I'll just go with num1 for this case. And then to get it from the user, I need to say num1 is equal to input. Okay, how do I get the second number? Okay, go on again.
You can do num2 is equal to input.
Yep, num2 is equal to input. Okay. So now this should get both of the inputs from my user. Okay, what's the problem here? Why isn't it asking me for a number? What am I not doing here? Yep. Yeah, I'm not printing out any messages. Okay, so the user, they're going to be confused. This program is not doing anything right now. Okay, because right now it's not asking them for anything. So I'm going to print out a message, print, enter a number. Okay, and I'll do it here as well, just so it prints out twice for each number. Enter another number. Okay, now if I run this now, enter a number, let's say 2, enter another number, 3, okay. So it works so far. It stored my two numbers into num1 and into num2. Okay, what am I going to need to do next? If I want to get the sum of these two numbers, what do I need to do? Yep, go. Yep, you? Yeah, I'm going to need to add them, okay? So, num1 plus num2. Okay. Should this work? Yeah, let's test it. Okay, so I'll do 2, I'll do 3. My program has not done anything. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Sorry? I'm not storing the number. Okay, so I'm going to store this number as, what would be a good name? Num3? Yep, okay, num3. Num3 equals to num1 plus num2. Okay, so now it's storing it. What am I going to need to do to print it? Yep.
Print num3.
Yep, print num3. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to enter 2, and I'm going to enter 3. Now, what do I expect my result to be? Any ideas? What should my result be from this? My result should be 5. Yep, okay, let's see what happens. 23. What's happening here? You got any ideas? Yep. Yeah, so right now, this function, what type does it output? It's outputting a number. What type is it outputting? Yeah, so this function here, input, this outputs a string or a piece of text. Okay? So here, it's saying num1 when I entered 2 before, it's 2 but not as a number, as a piece of text. And when it's 3, saying num2 is 3 not as a number, again as a piece of text. So when it did the piece of text 2 plus the piece of text 3, it sort of just mashed them together. So that's how I got 23. So somehow I need to be able to get these 2 and 3 as numbers instead of as pieces of strings or pieces of text. So this is where we'll go through some new types of variables. We have ints in Python and we have floats. Okay? Anyone have an idea what int might be short for? Yeah, integer. So ints, if you remember from like GCSE maths, A-level maths, ints are just integers. Okay? They're whole numbers. Okay? And floats, these are just for decimal numbers. Going back to my laptop, I need to convert num1 and num2 into being numbers now. Okay? Now the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to say that num1, I'm going to say it's equal to the number version of itself. So I'm going to say int num1. So here, it's made it a string, and now I'm taking in that string here, and I'm changing what it's going to be. Okay, and now I'll do the same thing to num2. So num2 equals, I'm making an integer version of itself. Okay, and now if I run this program, I enter number, enter 2, and I enter 3. And this time it's worked. Now, what I've done over here, and over here, I've changed the value of what num1 and num2 are. This is something called reassignment. Okay? Reassignment is just changing the value of something. Okay, so reassignment isn't just for turning something from a string into an integer. It can be for calculating new things. So here, x is being set to the value of 2. Okay? And then 2 is being added to x. And that's being set to x again. And then when it prints x, it prints out 4. Because here, when it does x plus 2, it's doing 2 plus 2, which gives you 4. It's saying x is equal to 4. So now when it does print x, it prints out 4. Okay, now we're going to switch over to a Menti. Okay, about half of you got this one. So first of all, we have 3 different operators here, okay? Plus is an operator, minus is an operator, divide, this is an operator as well, times is an operator as well. Now in programming, sometimes we don't just need to get the division of something. Sometimes we might be only dealing with whole numbers, for example. Okay? So that's why here is distinguishing between regular division and between floor division. Okay? So regular division, if I do 5 divided by 2, what should this give me in Python, do you think? Yep. 2.5? Yeah, this is just going to give me 2.5. What will 5 floor division 2 give me? 2. Okay, it's going to give me 2 because what it does, it sees this 0.5 and it rounds it down. Okay, because sometimes in programming you don't need that, or you don't want to be working with decimals because it just makes things harder. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, which Python operator raises a number to a power? Okay, I'm very glad to see that everybody has gotten this one right. In maths, we normally use a cross for multiplication. Okay, but we're using an asterisk over here. Any ideas why? Yep. Yeah, so oftentimes when you're doing maths, you use x, right? You all done GCSE, x squared plus 5x plus 6. This is a quadratic, right? Now, if we use this in programming as well, it will make it easier to get confused between them. Okay? So by using the asterisk, it sort of just prevents you from making this kind of confusion. Now, for exponentiation, we can't write superscript very easily, can we? No, so what we do, we just use 2 asterisks. Some different programming languages might do it differently. This is how it is in Python. Now, before we carry on, what does modulo mean? Does anyone know? Okay, go on.
It just tells you the remainder.
Yeah, so it tells you the remainder. So, for example, what do you think 5 modulo 2 is equal to? Yep. 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay, what would 6 modulo 2 be equal to? Any guesses? 0. Yeah, there's no remainder. 12 modulo 5. What would that be equal to? Yeah, it's going to be equal to 2. Okay, let's carry on from here. Okay, what's the value of y after this? Okay, 3 people got it right. Let's walk through this one. Okay, so at the start we have x is equal to 20. Okay, x is set to 20 right at the start. Then we have y is set to 15. Y is set to 15. Then our next line, x equals to x plus y. What's x equal to right now? I think someone said 20. Yeah, that's right. What's y equal to at the moment? Yeah, y is equal to 15. Right now, x is equal to 35. It's not 20 anymore. Okay? Then, x is equal to x times by x. Okay, so this is, what's x right now? 35, yeah. So this is just 35 times by 35. Okay, 1,225. Okay, yeah, so now we've got y is equal to x divided by 2 plus y. So that's going to be 1,225 divided by 2, and then plus what y was, and y was 15. Okay, so then 1,225 divided by 2. This is 612.5 plus 15. That's 627.5, which is the answer. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, most of you got it right this time. Let's walk through that. X equals to y plus z. X equals y plus z. Okay, so what's y equal to? Y is equal to 3. Z is equal to 16. So this will give us 3 plus 16, which is just 19. Okay, x is set to 19. Then we have z equals 11 asterisk asterisk 2. What does the double asterisk mean again? Yeah, so this means 11 to the power of 2, which is 121. Okay, so now z is equal to 121. Then we finally have y equals to x times by 3 minus z. Okay, x right now is at 54. No, what's x equal to? 19. Okay, because this value got overwritten by that one. Okay, so now we have 19 times by 3 minus z, which is 121. Okay, 19 times 3, that is 57. That's 121. Okay, and that is 64. Minus 64. Which is the answer. Okay, next one. Okay, most of you got it right. Now, does anybody have any idea why we don't have fractions here? Why do we just have a recurring decimal? Okay, now the thing with computers, they're not very good at representing fractions, okay? They're good at representing decimals to a certain extent. So computers, they always do rounding when they're doing calculations that involve fractions or decimals. That's why here it's minus 5.66 recurring rather than minus 5 and 2/3. Okay, let's work it out properly. So x is set to 99 at the start. Y is set to 8. And z is set to equal to 76. Then x is equal to y minus z. Y is equal to 8. Z is equal to 76. So this is just 8 minus 76. That is just 68, minus 68. Okay, so x is minus 68 at the moment. Okay, then we have z is equal to y times by 3. Okay, right now y is equal to 8 still. So the same thing as 8 times by 3, just 24. So z is set to 24. Then we have y is equal to x times by 2 divided by z. Okay, so x, that is minus 68, times by 2, divided by 24. Okay, to simplify this, I'm just going to do minus 136 over 24, and divide both sides by 2, minus 68 over 12, minus 34 over 6, and then you turn that into a mixed number. That's minus 5 and 4/6, which is minus 5 and 2/3, which is approximately minus 5.6666 recurring. Yep. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, next one. Yep, there we go. Then y is being set to 2. Then we have y is equal to x slash 2 plus y times 2. Okay, what does the double slash mean again? Yes, so floor division. So what's x right now? 20. Okay, so 20 floor division 2. What's that going to be equal to? Oh, it says z. I thought it said 2. Okay. X floor division z, not 2. Okay. So then it's 20 floor division 3. Yeah, that's just going to be 6, because the closest number that 3 goes into 20 is 18. Okay. And then instead of 14, that is 10. Okay, then we have z equals to x modulo z. Okay, so right now, x is equal to 20. And z is equal to 3. So, what's this going to be equal to? So the nearest number that 3 goes into 20 would be 18. So then you have a remainder of 2. Okay, so z is set to 2. And for the final part, y equals to y minus z. Y right now is equal to 10. Z is equal to 2. So it becomes 10 minus 2, which is equal to 8, which most of you got. Okay, most of you got that, right? Okay, let's talk about how we do this one. Then m equals to j plus k. Okay, j right now, that is 10, and then k is equal to 3. So this means 10 plus 3, which is equal to 13. Then after that, we have j is equal to m slash k. Okay, what does double slash mean again? Is it modulo division, or is it floor division, or is it regular division? It's floor division, right? So m 13 slash k, which is 3. Okay, so 13 divided by 3, that would normally be 3.3 recurring. Sorry, not 3.3, 4.3 recurring. So it's just going to be 4. Okay, because 3 goes into 12. Okay, so j is equal to 4. And then we have y is equal to j asterisk 2 minus k. Okay, now because of BIDMAS again, indices happen first. So this is going to be first 4 to the power of 2, then minus k, which is right now k is 3. Okay, 4 to the power 2, 16, minus 3, so it's just 13. Yeah? Does that make sense, everyone? We've talked about different functions so far. We're going to talk about how to make a function ourselves now. So here we've done add instructions. Now I want to make a function that takes two numbers itself, and then it adds those for us. And the way that you do this in Python, you write down def. This just means define. Okay? So define. Now, what will be a good name for an add function? Add. Yeah, we'll just use add. Now, our add function needs to take in stuff that's going to add, right? So the way that you do that, inside of the brackets, you specify what you want to put in. A number, the first number, and we want to put in a second number. So we've got our two numbers now inside of our add function. Now we actually need to add them together. So it's just going to do num1 plus num2. And we need a way of storing this number. So I'll just make it into num3. Num3 equals num1 plus num2. Now before, I said how functions, they either return something or they don't. So with the number blocks from before, that'll return a number. Right now, this isn't returning anything. It's just adding these and then finishing. Okay, so to make it return something, we just put return, and we say what we want to return. So we'll say num3. Okay, now if I run this program, you're going to notice it doesn't do anything. Okay, this program right now by itself is not doing anything. Okay, now just like with the function from before, like the print function, you actually have to say that you want to use it in the first place. So this time we need to say we want to use the add function. So what numbers should I try adding? I'll just try 2 and 3 again. Okay, if I run that, okay, it still doesn't seem to do anything. And what's not happening? What are we doing wrong here? We're not printing anything. So we're adding these numbers, but then we're not doing anything to make it so that it's displayed to the user. Okay? So before, when we were doing the surname, we printed it out after we got it. Okay? So here, we've got our result. We need to do something with it now. Okay, so I'm going to say num is equal to add 2, 3. So when add finishes, it gives us num3, and num3 is going to be stored inside of this variable over here. Now I could print that. Put it in print, and I'll do print num. Now this time it should print out a message. It prints out 5. Okay? That makes sense, everyone? Yeah? Now, what would we do if we wanted to have an add function that adds 3 numbers together? Yeah, I could have a third number. So now I'm going to change this. Then instead of just having 2 numbers, we have 3. So num3 there. And then over here, put in my third number, and over here I'll just say 1, so now it's doing 2 plus 3 plus 1. So that should be 6. Yep, 6. Okay, what happens if I want to have 20 numbers? Is that going to be very convenient for me? No, it's going to be like a massive line. So we need a way of dealing with this. Okay? So this is where lists come in. So far, we've spoken about integers, we talked about floats, we've talked about strings, which are pieces of text. The next one, or the next main type, are lists. Okay? Now, lists, these are good for holding more than one thing. It can be any number of things. Okay? We can make an empty list, just like this. And we can put things inside of it, like so. We use square brackets for lists instead of the rounded brackets. The round brackets are for functions, square brackets are for lists. So this is how we would access num0, then the first number, then the second, and then so on. This wouldn't be very nice. Okay, we need a better way of going through all of the numbers. Okay, and this is where we have loops. Now, does anybody have any idea what a loop actually does? It loops, yeah. Loops in programming, that's for doing things again and again and again, repeatedly. I'm going to change my add function. I'm just going to call it sum now, since it's just summing the numbers. Sum. And it's going to take in a list of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Call it sum over here. And now instead of taking in separate numbers, it's just going to take in one list of numbers. Okay, now we need a way of going through each of the numbers inside of this list. The way that you do that in Python, you type in 4 for each of the things in the list. And then we need a variable to call each thing inside of the list. It could be I, it could be num, it could be whatever you want. It's just a variable. So for num in nums. No? Okay, so this will go through each of the things in this list. And just to show you that would actually work, print num, and you'll see that we'll go through each thing. Here we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So now I'm going to actually add up these numbers together. Now to do this, if I was doing this as a human being, I'd do 1, and then I'd do 1 plus 2, which is 3. Then I'd do 3 plus 3, which is 6. 6 plus 4, which is 10. And 10 plus 5 is 15. So what I'm doing as a human being, I'm thinking about what each number adds up to as I go along. Okay? So I need a way of doing that inside of Python. So to do that, I'm going to make a variable called total. Okay, and this will keep track of all of our numbers as we go along. And then for each number, I'm going to add to it. I'm going to say total is equal to the old total plus the new number. So I need to return total at the end here. And now it should work. Okay, now another kind of loop is called the while loop. Okay, this will do something while something else is true. So here this will print out this message forever. And this saves you from having to write it down print multiple times. Okay. So we have what are called conditions in programming languages. So sometimes we only want something to happen if something else is true. Okay? And the way we check this is with if, alif, and else. Okay, so before, the sum function, it was adding up all of the numbers. Okay? I'm going to edit this function slightly so that it only adds numbers that are even. Okay? So I'm going to check if the number is even before I add it. So I need to see that if I divide by 2, then the remainder should be equal to 0. So if I do that, now this time it's just going to add 2 and 4. Six. Yeah, so that's how you do a condition. You're just checking that something is equal to something else, or it could be less than something else, could be greater than something else. Okay, which type of Boolean operator returns true? Only if both its operands are true. Okay, everybody got that right. Let's move on. Okay, which one is true if at least one of the operands is true? Yep, everyone got this right. Okay, everyone got that. Okay, most people got that right. Okay, 2 more to go. Okay, most of you got this one right. Okay, last one. Okay, I'll just give you a hint. The hash, ignore everything after the hashes are here, okay? Okay, we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Now, this, if anybody would like to learn more Python, here's a QR code for where you can learn some more Python. Scan this. And as for our upcoming events, we will be having a latex tutorial soon, inshaAllah, as well as the Sister Sustainability event and the ELM Science Fair next month as well. So, with the ELM Science Fair, we're actually looking for volunteers for that at the moment. We've sent a message on the WhatsApp community, so if you're interested in volunteering for that, please fill in the form. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Jazakallah khair.